Welcome to Keiretsu Forum Presents. My name is Randy Williams, proud member of Keiretsu Forum, also the founder and CEO. Very proud after 17 years we've grown globally to 3 continents with 51 chapters. We're fortunate also to have funded 900 companies in the last 17 years. Each region, typically like Northern California where this is being filmed, funds anywhere from 25 to 35 companies. Every month on our show, we try to inspire, educate you, our viewers, on many aspects of angel investing. Today, I'm interviewing Jeff Osorio. He's a practice leader of the Robert Half Company, a publicly traded company. Our show today is preparing for a transaction. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's frame exactly what that means and who the target audience, who should be listening and watching this.
So, a transaction can be anything from an A round, a seed round. It can be an M&A transaction, or it could be a full IPO. So who's the target audience for this? Well, from my perspective, we work with companies that are from small to mid-sized companies, 0 to $250 million in size, although we can handle bigger companies. And we're looking for companies that are fast-growing and looking for strategic help and financial help to get to the next level.
Tom Cruise had a famous line, "Help me help you." So how do you help an entrepreneur to really, do they want to have help or garner help, or do they not know or not sure when to get a CFO or when to get adult supervision to help their company the next step?
So it all depends on the sophistication and the experience of the CEO. If the CEO has been there before, then he knows exactly what he needs. It's like climbing a mountain. If you climbed the mountain before, you know the route. But if you haven't climbed a mountain before, you probably want to get an experienced guide. And that's the real challenge, is knowing when you need help and knowing when to ask for it.
So we look at a lot of early stage opportunities. Most of the companies we fund have the validation of revenue, so they're usually between A and B. We invest in everything from LED lighting to women's shoes to Clarisonic products, deep technology. But generally companies come to us have customers. So what we're most interested in is obviously getting back to the subject matter. We want you to prepare for the transaction A, B, C round, but we're most interested in is the exit. But they have to start early so they can be prepared for the exit, because if they have a strategic that buys a company or IPO, they better have their ducks in line.
Absolutely. As you know, a full due diligence process is massive. I have actually run due diligence programs, and we've run 200 requests and received 1,200 documents that we're reviewing when you go through. So it's the ultimate physical examination. So if you're not ready for that, if you're not prepared for that, you're not going to get there. So at a lowest level, you need audited financial statements, and that's one level. But the whole issue around the quality of your business plan, your business process controls, how you operate your business, your ERP systems, all those things come into play in the business. And it's not just, I have customers, I have revenue. What's the quality of the revenue? What's the quality of your forecast? And can you really do the things that you're saying in your business plan? That's where a group like mine can come in, and we do diagnostics for companies like that. And we can evaluate the health of the business and where they are, and they can correct those things before you get into that process.
Okay. Let's try to keep it real simple. Let's say that a company's growing and has a CEO, has a bookkeeper, has a sales and marketing person. We've just given them $1 million. Our money, hopefully, is to use of funds is to hire more sales and marketing so they can move to a scaling, eventually toward an exit so we can monetize. So how do they know when to move from a bookkeeper to a CFO?
Well, I think there's... Again, they should get advice from somebody who knows, somebody who's been there, like you, like Keiretsu Forum. I'm sure you can tell when somebody comes in. When somebody comes in to make their pitch at Keiretsu Forum, can you tell if they have an experienced CFO when they walk in the door, when they do their presentation?
You're asking?
I'm asking, yeah.
Well, we're fortunate to be a little later stage, so they have to have all that in place. Otherwise, they won't move the next step. We have a very arduous funnel system that allows a company to, say, you got to go to door A, which is, possibly a pro bono door, which we will help mentor, we'll give to them, but they're not yet ready for Broadway play. Broadway play, they have to make sure they have all those ducks in line.
Right, and that's where a lot of times your board of directors will also guide you on that. Right? Randy, you're doing a really great job, but you need professional help now. So there's this dynamic of your CFO between the person that's a business partner and the person that's a technical resource. And you need both. You need somebody who's technically skilled, but can also be a business partner and advise you in the process. And so there's this matrix of, you get a first-time MBA or somebody who came out of a hedge fund, right? He's a great business partner, but he doesn't have the technical skills to get you there. The other extreme is you have, I call him Murray the accountant, right? Your books are going to be perfect, bills are going to be paid on time, but he's not going to give you the strategic advice that it takes to get there. And so you want to balance between those two. You need somebody who is technically skilled, but experienced and can guide you down that path to help you with your presentations for investors, to help you with your pitch book, to help you with your financial projections, so that you can strike that balance between being a compelling investment but credible at the same time.
So let me ask you a question, and let's get clever here, because not everybody can afford a CFO. Let's say that someone's smart enough to know, wow, I need a CFO because I want to garner more capital from investors or angel investors or members of Keiretsu Forum. We also have funds, Keiretsu Capital, we have a family of funds but how can that person, let's say she's a CEO and she wants to hire a CFO, but she doesn't have yet the capital to do that. Is there any creative ways they can trade or they can do?
Absolutely. So our firm does that. Robert Half does that, and we can do that as strategic advisory services. So maybe someone like me comes in, who's been an experienced CFO, comes in and sits and talks with that person once every 2 weeks. Right? Maybe sits with their bookkeeper or accountant person to find out what they're doing and give them a little bit of guidance. And so you can probably afford, some of that time every other week, once a month, something, 8 to 10 hours, something like that. As you start to move up the food chain, right, then maybe you need that person to come in 1 day a week or 2 days a week and steer that young hedge fund person or the newly minted MBA who is energetic and very smart, but just not very experienced, right? So that's the second stage. The third stage would say, okay, I want a CFO, but I'm not ready to make a full-time commitment. Well, then you can get an interim CFO, somebody who can come in and help your business on a contract basis and support him until you're ready for that final transaction when you're going to hire that ultimate CFO that you're looking for.
So you're stating then, you can get creative with Robert Half or yourself. I could come to you and say, well, I'm going to give you shares, options, warrants. Would you accept some of that in lieu of cash consideration until they get to a place they can afford you?
As a personal consultant, absolutely. People will do that. And again, Robert Half can provide people that can play in different roles. So there's a way to do that. The thing to be careful about is a lot of people are going to bill themselves as CFOs, and they're not. And so my advice to your members, if they were looking at somebody who says, yeah, I'm a consulting CFO, right, ask to see some of the work they've done. They say, well, I've done business models. Let me see your business model. I've done investor pitches. Well, show me one that you've done. Redact it, right? Take the company name out, but look at their work, because there are a lot of people that will tell you that they're a CFO, but they're really good at QuickBooks, and they can pay the bills on time, and they can run QuickBooks and generate financial statements, but that's really not the person you're looking for.
Okay, the theme is obviously we're talking about getting ready for the transaction, meaning getting ready for a round to close. So you have to have all those ducks in a row. What are the ducks? And then what I'm most interested in is obviously exit. As angel investors, this is where we monetize when the company is bought by a strategic, IPO, or some event happens where entrepreneur wins, and we win also through some exit. So let's talk about transaction, and let's also take it all the way to the end.
So let's talk about the end state. We're going to go through an M&A process, right? Something about the business is compelling to somebody. Somebody wants what the business does, right? So what do you have to be able to do? You have to be able to demonstrate that revenue stream. You should be demonstrating cash flow, right? And if you're not demonstrating cash flow, how soon do I get cash flow positive? How much more money do I have to invest to get this business over the hump? And what am I really buying? Right? I'm buying technology. Am I buying a customer base? Am I buying people? What is it that I'm buying that I need, and what am I going to do with it? Right? And that's where we can help prepare you for that, to say, yes, we're stable, yes, we have cash flow, yes, we have good financial statements, yes, we have good business controls,
that's powerful.
and here's what we are.
Yeah. So my next door neighbor was CEO of AT&T West for many years before he transferred, and he used to tell me the R word is the most important thing about business. I said, what's that mean? His name was Eddie Miller. He said, recurring. So don't you think recurring, that model you just stated, right, regarding cash flow, I look at it as an angel investor, I look at recurring. I mean, you can have 1 year of great cash flow, but is it recurring? So you give a different slant to recurring than you do actual.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, most companies, especially smaller companies, are on the way up. Right? They're trying to manage cash flow. They've put their own money into it. They've got their family money into it. They've got angel investors into it. Cash flow is critical. So actually, as a consultant, as a CFO, walking into a new business, I like to see people working on tables and chairs from Costco, right? I don't want to see fancy offices. I want to see people working and investing money where I'm going to get a return. Right? Because you said recurring, I like to talk about return. If I'm going to make an investment, I want a return. Everybody does. And so you have to demonstrate that to the investor that you're going to give them that return.
Well, I've been doing this for 17 years, Keiretsu Forum, and I've seen thousands of business plans, but I'm learning something right here. What you're telling me is if someone truly listens to you, an entrepreneur, and they'll be able to talk to people like myself that are investing in the company. They'll be able to understand our DNA, because we're going to look at the finances. But you're going to help shape a story on their current and then their actual and obviously projections. They can articulate the value proposition better by using your talents.
Absolutely. The value, what you said there is the value proposition, and it has to be credible. Right, I'm sure you've seen lots of presentations, and the growth curve is always, straight up and to the right. They're unicorns, right? But what's the underlying data below that? How are you going to get there? Right. What's your business model to get there? Is it really credible? I teach in the MBA program in Santa Clara, and I tell people in investor presentations, one of the things you need to do is you have to anticipate the question and answer it before it's asked. And people say to me, well, how do I do that? And I actually have, part of it is experience, and I've been there before, so I know what I'm going to be asked. But the other two is, one is you have to think about the question that you don't want to answer and be prepared for that. And the next one is, what's the most difficult person in the room going to ask you? And be prepared for that. Right. It's easier with your board because you know your board and their personality, but what are they going to ask you, and are you prepared? Right.
You probably have a lot of free things for entrepreneurs. Let me give entrepreneurs who are listening, and also angel investors who are listening, something free. On our website, we have Keiretsu Forum Due Diligence Booklet. After 15 years, we've crafted from all our members, we have created a booklet for entrepreneurs so they can understand how we do due diligence. It's fascinating reading, and nighttime reading will take you it took me about a year to get through it, but it's fascinating. And so go on our investor tab, push on Keiretsu Forum Due Diligence book. It's free for all of you. Okay, so we have 1 more minute. So how do they get free resources from you and Robert Half?
If you ping me either through LinkedIn or through Robert Half, Jeff Osorio at Robert Half, you can find me, and we're happy to come in and talk with you about what your needs are.
Great. Well, we hope today's show has given you some valuable insight into the world of accounting and the world of getting prepared for the next round. And more importantly, for myself, I want these companies to be fully prepared toward exit, because when that exit partner, that strategic partner comes up, they better be ready for them, because they can go. I mean, the dance is fascinating. So they have to be prepared through obviously a good CFO and good accounting. And also, we have the last 10 episodes on YouTube. So if you're interested in seeing all the other content, hopefully will inspire you, please check out YouTube. Thank you so much for your valuable time.